Oh, hello and welcome back to my home and to, yes, that is something that happened in the Bible. Before we begin, I just want to say thanks for watching. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers and I'm already halfway there, so I'm very thankful to all of you who have subscribed already. And now that I'm a complete sellout, let's get to our story. So today's story comes from the book of Judges, which is a book of the Bible that contains a lot of the stories you guys have suggested so far. You see, Judges is a special book in the Bible because it's full of stories that make you really question, is this something that happened in the Bible? Yes it is. Now, there's a lot to cover in Judges, so I thought I would just start with like a milder story before jumping into the deep end. It's about the time that a guy stabbed somebody who was so fat, his body literally ate the blade. Let's begin. So this is the scene. We're back in ancient Israel, but right now Israel isn't really like a country. It's more of a coalition of loose tribes. You see, they didn't have a human king. God was supposed to be their king. Of course, if you're not following your king, things get out of hand. So because the Israelites have totally abandoned their king, God sends this bro named Eglon, the king of Moab, to come and conquer them. So after enduring Eglon for 18 years, the Israelites realize their mistake, they return to God, and they ask him for help. You see, through this period of time, the Israelites are like a kid who wants to make French fries. And you tell them, let me make you the French fries so you don't burn the house down. And they're like, no, I can do it myself. And then they almost burn the house down. Repeatedly. God hears their cries for help, and so he picks Ehud the Benjamite to come and lead them. Ehud has a unique feature. He's left-handed. And for all you lefties out there, this is the biblical hero you want to be like. Every year, the Israelites have to send tribute to Eglon. Ehud has his own special kind of tribute to bring to him this year, a double-edged sword. This whole ritual of bringing the tribute goes off just like it always has, no surprises or anything. But when the people are going back into Israel, Ehud pulls an audible. Ehud tells the people that are with him, hey, you just go on ahead, I need to go back to the palace real quick, I totally forgot something back there. Totally not suspicious. So Ehud goes back and he tells Eglon, hey, I have a secret message for you. Now, we don't know much about Eglon, but we do know two things. First, that he's very fat. And second, that he feels very secure. Now we know that Eglon feels very secure because when Ehud tells him that he has a secret for him, he's like, I love secrets! And he sends everybody else away so that he is alone in his throne room with his enemy. As the saying goes, secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone. Especially if that secret is just an excuse to stab somebody in the stomach, which is exactly what happens. So now that they're alone, Ehud approaches Eglon and he leans in close. And in a scene that could be from any action movie, he's like, I have a message from the Lord for you, and stabs him in the stomach. Thus bringing us to the key verse for this passage. This is Judges 3:21-22. And Ehud reached with his left hand, took the sword from his right thigh, and thrust it into his belly. And the hilt also went in after the blade, and the fat closed over the blade, for he did not pull the sword out of his belly, and the dung came out. Let's unpack this. Firstly, we need to talk about wordplay, because it's throughout this whole story. We don't really get to see it in the English translations, but if you read the Hebrew, it's there. For instance, Ehud, who we're told is left-handed, we're also told is from the tribe of Benjamin. Now, the spelling that's used for Benjamin in here means son of the right hand. And the words used to describe Eglon's fluffiness is the same words to describe fat cattle. Also, Eglon's name comes from the term for young fat bull. You know, the kind that gets slaughtered and sacrificed. Even the way the author describes how Ehud made that sword has a double meaning. You see, it's often translated that Ehud made a sword for himself. But himself could also just mean him. As in, Ehud made a sword to specifically find its way into the fluffiness of Eglon. So what we have here is we have a left-handed man who is the son of the right hand, bringing a sacrifice from the Israelites to a king who is a fat young bull that is ready to be sacrificed himself. Second, we need to talk about how Ehud's sword was literally eaten by this guy's body. Now, my wife and I ran this thing called a Spartan race. And there was this one section where it had this super thick mud. And as we were running through it, we had to be really careful because the mud was just so thick and goopy, it was going to suck the shoes right off of our feet. That mud is what Eglon's body was like. And finally, we need to talk about the dung. Now, it is a perfectly natural thing that when you die, everything that's in your bowels just finds its way out of there. The reason why this detail is important is because the way that Ehud escapes is by locking the doors behind him when he leaves. And when Eglon's helpers come around, they find the doors locked, and then they think from the smell that he's going number 2. Which, that fact in itself is something that's fun to think about. Because put yourself in the shoes of these helpers. They're working for a king that when he needs to go poo, he turns his throne into a throne. Remember, they don't have plumbing back then. So try to picture going in every day and having to deal with the smell that is probably permeated in that area. Now, my wife has a really good sense of smell, and I'm pretty sure she would instantly die if she was within 100 miles of this place. So after a while, or as the Bible puts it, till the point of embarrassment, they decide they need to check on this guy. On a side note, as a child, my parents often worried about how long I spent in the bathroom, but the truth was I was just in there playing my Game Boy longer than I was allowed to. Eglon, however, is not playing Pokemon. Eventually, Eglon's helpers finally make their way into the room to find him dead, but by this point, Ehud's already back in Israel and has mustered Israel's army. Israel fights off Moab, thus freeing themselves, and they get to enjoy their freedom for about 80 years until they mess it all up again. The end. So, what's the point of this story? It does show God's faithfulness to Israel, even though they are not faithful to him. It shows that one person who is clever with their unique trait can make all the difference. But most importantly, it shows that if somebody's going to tell you a secret, make sure they don't have a sword. Thanks for watching. If you would like to hear another story about Moab and Israel clashing, you can click on the thumbnail over there. To see the previous video, you can click on the video below. So please take a second to hit that subscribe button and share this video. And please leave a comment on any story you would like for me to share. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.